Hey, Al, thank you so much for all the views on the recent pod. If you could hit that subscribe button, we would really appreciate it. We love that you watch the videos and like them, but the subscription just adds so much more for you, the
Yeah,
fans, because you can just see the videos right away. So if you feel inclined, hit that subscribe button. It's just right at the bottom, all the way to the right. Just hit it and you good. But in the NFL world, we had some big breaking news. Matt Rule did get fired from the Carolina Panthers. I personally think it was the right move because I never thought he was an NFL coach, and he proved me right. What are your guys' thoughts on that? You think they made the right move by firing him, or do you think it was too early?
yeah. Would you like to go first? Or would you like me to?
You can go first if you want.
So personally, I think it's the right move done too early.
Okay, you would have waited out the whole year.
Yeah, just because with their current team, I don't see them winning.
Yeah, I don't either, especially with Baker at quarterback.
Yeah, so and then right now it's not a good market to find a good head coach.
Right.
So I think you ride it out with your old head coach. Let him keep losing you games.
Get
You
you a
get a
good
good
pick.
pick, then you can get a good coach to go along with that.
Yeah,
I just think it was done too early where they can't get the right coach necessarily.
that's fair. The only guy I can really think of is Sean Payton, but I don't think he'd go to the Panthers.
He didn't want to come to Miami?
And he didn't want to go to the Cowboys either, so I don't see him going to the Panthers.
No.
But what are your thoughts, Gio?
So here are my thoughts, right? They lost to the Browns by 2 points in the first week.
Mm-hmm.
They then lose by 3 points to the Giants,
Right.
beat the Saints by 8 points,
Okay.
right? Lose to the Cardinals by 10, and then get demolished by the 49ers, 37.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough because the first 2 weeks were close games, especially to, I would say, teams on their level,
Right.
like the Browns and the Giants.
Yeah.
But I say this is a good move, right? But at the same time, I wouldn't really blame it more on the coach than it is on Baker Mayfield
I
and the
agree.
way he's playing as well. There have been a lot of options for him. I feel like that he hasn't targeted, right? And especially down the stretch, he's not making those game-winning plays as we see against the Giants and as we see against the Browns, right? He's not making those game-winning plays. Obviously, the defense can be better, but at the same time, you have Christian McCaffrey, right, as a weapon on offense. You have Robbie Anderson as a weapon on it offense, right? Those guys alone, I
DJ
feel like
Moore.
exactly number one guy, right? Um, he's got the weapons to do good, right? But he just wasn't performing. And now who's the backup since Sam's hurt?
PJ Walker now.
PJ Walker, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, I would have gave him 1 week, right? Just like Nick said, waited out a little bit longer. But for me, it's more on. I think this team's just dysfunctional right now altogether, and they just gotta. I would say just wait till next season, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I've never been a fan of in-season coaching changes because then you have to make a change like so
Right.
sporadically and it never
Mhm.
really works out.
Right.
So I don't know. I'd rather would have waited it out, but I think it is the right move that would have happened eventually either
Mhm.
way.
For
But
sure.
I agree with you. It definitely is on Baker Mayfield just as much as it is on the coach, I feel like.
Mhm.
Even though Matt Rule wasn't that great of a coach last year with Sam Darnold, like they still started 3-0.
Right.
They were still playing at a high level for most of the year, I would say, better than they are right now. So I don't
Mhm.
know. I just feel like the majority of it is on Baker because I thought he was going to come out, have a heck of a year, prove the haters wrong, and he hasn't done any of that. And it's been a big disappointment, not only for Panthers fans, but for NFL fans too.
Mhm.
I especially expected it playing against the Browns,
Right.
and he just looked horrible.
Yeah.
So it is on Baker as well. At the same time, they can't really do anything about their QB situation either.
No. I mean, if Darnold was healthy, it would have been a different thing, but obviously he's not.
And I just don't see any trade value for Baker anymore either.
No, not at all. Because I mean, for the way he's playing, his contract's pretty big.
Yeah. It's a terrible contract for the way, like how poorly he's playing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they should have traded for Jimmy G when they had the chance, it's looking like.
Pretty much.
But speaking of Baker, obviously he is out most likely for 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain, just like the one that Sam Darnold has that landed him on IR. Baker Mayfield won't go to IR, so maybe he'll return within 4 games, but they're on their third string, like we said. So how do you guys think that impacts like players like Christian McCaffrey and the entire offense?
Gio, I'll let you go first.
Right off the top of my head, I fully believe Christian McCaffrey is going to get more touches. Right, this could be a spark, to be honest, with a new quarterback coming in, with the weapons that you do have, like Moore and Anderson. Bless you. Just like with the weapons I just mentioned, then you can get an offense starting and possibly get 2 to 3 games, I guess, through the season, maybe with a third string, quarterback. But at the same time, like I said, this team's dysfunctional already. Bless you again. This team's dysfunctional, so I don't expect nothing much.
That's fair. Saya?
Usually when a third string quarterback comes in, the team does not look the same. It throws off the whole dynamic of the offense, especially when he's thrown into a game he wasn't expecting to play. I feel like they're being a running back, you would expect them to get more touches. But at the same time, with McCaffrey, he's more of a receiving back than a running back, I would say.
Mhm.
So he might get more carries. But I don't think it'll translate into a better game from him, per se. DJ Moore, I don't expect him to do really anything. I haven't really seen this third string play like that, like with the offense built around him. So I don't know if it'll change this next coming week. But hopefully they're just getting his confidence up and he'll be like ready to play.
Yeah, I agree. I really expect majority of the offense to flow around CMC, especially since it's a third stringer. I think he's only started like one game and he didn't really do that well that game. Obviously, they centered the offense around CMC and ran the ball. I think it's going to be a lot of that and CMC as a receiver because there's going to be a lot of dump downs. I feel like I don't think he can really throw the ball deep or even medium throws. So I think it's going to be a lot of CMC, and I don't see them winning a lot of games with him as long as he's at quarterback and even with Baker at quarterback. Like this, I feel like this season is already in the dumpster fire for the Panthers, honestly.
I'd agree with that. And that's why I think they should have just kept their coach, just because it's already a bad year.
Right. And they did fire their defensive coordinator too, which I say was a good move because that defense has been awful.
Fair.
But if I was them, I'd also fire the GM because like what do you do in the offseason? You didn't do anything. You could have got Jimmy G and you got Baker. Like
right now it looks bad because all they did was just make a bad trade.
Right.
And it's not even like they're building up their offense to like help their quarterbacks.
No. Like DJ Moore's good, but is he a number one? I don't think so.
I like him as a 2 or a slot.
Yeah, same. And Robbie Anderson, same thing. Not a number one.
Yeah, so.
But I don't know. I guess we'll see what pick they get and where they go. Maybe they can get a quarterback because this is a quarterback heavy draft.
Thanks.
Gio?
I agree with that. Like I said before, I have nothing much to say on this topic except for this dysfunctional team. And you really can't improve that much with the players you got because they're playing at the best level they can. Right? Like Moore, like Anderson. I would say Christian McCaffrey can play better, but at the same time, what help does he have? What offensive line? Everything is just dysfunctional in that team. It's really wasting his potential there right now. But at the same time, all you can do is go up from here, hope for the best, and look forward to next season.
Yeah, I agree. it's definitely a tough outcome for
Mhm.
Panthers fans and for the Panthers as a whole. But what's up?
I was gonna say the Cowboys game.
Yeah, we can go. We can move to the Cowboys
They
game.
they shocked me for sure. Defensively, I would say they're the best defensive team in the NFL right now by far. I don't think anyone's really close. Maybe the Bills, possibly, but even then, I don't see them being as close as the Cowboys defense. Offensively, they're roughing it out right now. They're scoring, but they're scoring just enough for them to win. But so like you said before, defensively, they're carrying the team, like you said in previous podcasts. Offensively, they're scoring, but like I said, they're just winning the games barely by the skin of their teeth. And all you need to do is win. So
Exactly. I'm very happy with the results of this team, especially after week 1 and after Dak went down.
Right.
Like you said, I agree. I do believe that this defense is the best defense in the league. Our opponents average only 14 points per game. That's the
Right.
best in the league.
Mhm.
And you can't ask for much from your defense other than holding your opponent to 1 score, which is basically what we do.
Right.
So I think that this week is going to be our biggest test, though, because I think our offense, if the Eagles continue to play
Mhm.
the way they've been playing all year, our offense is going to have to
Right.
keep up, I feel like,
Mhm.
unless the defense continues their dominant performance, which is also a possibility. But I feel like either way, the offense is going to have to score more points than they have been. They're going to have to convert in the end zone with
Mhm.
touchdowns instead of field goals. And I think that if we do that, we do have a shot.
For me though, I believe Dak is sitting out this game. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So that's tough for me, seeing him, sit out. I heard, Jerry Jones said he could barely grip a football at this point in time.
He did throw a little bit today and he had some pop on it, but so the swelling's
Right.
going down.
Right.
But next week's more realistic than this week.
For sure. But like you said, this is the biggest game of the season so far. It might be the biggest game for the NFC, to be honest.
Because if we
It
win,
might-
we
right,
got the first place.
right. And it's just tough for me just because offensively, I don't see them doing much more than they're already doing. Unless you guys play Pollard and Zeke like you did last week. I
Mhm.
thought that was a great 1-2 punch. But other than that, offensively, I don't really see too much because CD's getting doubled every time, just about, right? So offensively, they're just going to score. Defensively, this is the test because the Eagles' offense is cruising right now with Smith and with Brown. Although Brown didn't, I would say he didn't have a really productive week last week, right? How
Yeah.
many yards did he have? I believe it was like
I believe he had around 40 something.
40 something, right? With like four connections, right?
Yeah, 4 or 3 catches.
Yeah. So Smith was, the main target last week. So I fully believe that they're gonna do what their thing offensively. Defensively, I need to see them play better. And I think this is where the matchup you guys can take advantage of is their defense. Offensively, I think your offense is better than their defense, personally.
Mhm.
The Eagles offense and your guys' defense, I would say, is pretty close. But then again, it depends on if your guys' defense is gassed, and is on the field more than your guys' offense, and that's the key to the game right there. Is if your offense can be on the field longer than your defense.
Yeah, I agree. I do believe in this defense. I think we can get it done just solely based off
Mhm.
the performances that the defense have been doing this entire season.
Mhm.
So I'm never going to say that we're out of it because we're never out of it with the defense like we have. But we are going to have to play better defense than we have, and which is saying something because we've obviously been the best in the league, but we're going to have to be
Right.
even better. And we're going to have to limit the penalties as well.
Oh, for sure.
So I think we have a shot. It's going to be a great game, and hopefully my boys come out with a win. But on the side of the Rams, that team has been a big disappointment for me. I thought coming off a Super Bowl that they were going to be, just as good, if not better.
Mhm.
But
Right.
it seems like Matthew Stafford, I don't know what happened, whether he's not healthy or what, but he took a big drop this year. So what's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I think it's just the playmaking, what they're doing, right? But it's tough for me to look at the Rams and say they're out of it because they are the Los Angeles Rams, right?
Right. I'm not saying they're out of it. It's just been a disappointment so far.
So far, right? Because they lost to the 49ers. They got demolished 24-9.
Hmm.
They beat the Cardinals 20-12. They beat the Falcons 31-27, and they lost to the Bills, obviously, week 1, 31-10. And that was, the score doesn't even show what really the game was, right? Because the
Right.
Bills demolished them physically.
And the Falcons game, they were up like 31-3 and almost blew it.
Right, exactly. So it's tough for me. Like you said, Matthew Stafford hasn't been himself. Last year, he had almost an MVP caliber season.
Hmm.
It's just right now he's not looking like it. I also think their run game has to be better.
I agree.
And OBJ was a huge component of that offense and why they succeeded last year. And they don't have him anymore. He's going to go to a new team. And I think, and also Von Miller was a huge component of that defense. And that's why they were so good last year. And that's why they won the Super Bowl, is because of those two guys alone. I think those were two huge components that they are now missing. And it's a little bit depleted right now, but I think midway through the season, they can pick it back up.
Yeah, I agree. I think they will pick it up eventually, but it's just been a disappointment so far.
For sure.
I'm also not surprised though that the Rams have fallen off like this.
Why you say that?
Because like Gio was saying, OBJ, massive piece of that offense. And yeah, you can say Allen Robinson's there now.
He's not
He's
OBJ.
not good now.
No.
And he's not Robert Woods either.
No.
Right.
They also lost.
Yeah.
And then Von Miller, massive part of that defense. I feel like he made the culture.
Mhm.
And that's a big piece to miss from their defense. So I think those two players leaving kind of opened it up for the league more.
Mhm.
But with that, I still think the Cowboys shouldn't have won that game, even though they did.
Why is that?
Huh?
Why is that?
I think on paper, the Cowboys should have lost.
Yeah,
Mhm.
on paper they had the better team.
But the Cowboys played phenomenal.
Yes.
Holding their team to only 10 points.
Yeah.
That's a great win by the Cowboys.
I mean, we've had a lot of those games that on paper we should have lost. Like
Exactly.
to the Bengals. Week 3, I mean, we played the Giants. We were technically underdogs, but we beat them. Who else? And then obviously the Rams. So, I mean, we've had a lot of those games, and the defense is the reason that we're winning those games. And as long as they can continue doing that, I think we'll be set until the playoffs, where hopefully the offense gets clicking when Dak gets back.
For sure. But at the same time, that offense is scoring just enough to win, right? That's a scrappy offense where they'll score just enough where they can just go ahead and win the game.
I think that's going to change when Dak gets back, though, that
for
we're
sure.
going to score more.
For sure. But at the same time, you're winning these games because that offense is so scrappy.
Yeah.
Wins will win.
Exactly. Win and win. I mean, as long as Cooper Rush can continue to get us in the red zone and get us in scoring position, I'm fine with it until Dak gets back.
For sure.
But it's crazy because both Super Bowl teams from last year are 2-3, the Bengals and the Rams.
Right. And I think, like you said, the Bengals going to them now, they could be a fluke. Like you said, they literally had everything going for them last season. All the catch, everyone was playing phenomenal. Mixon, Joe Burrow, right? That defense was playing great. I was shocked, to see them play the way they are this year. Is it a mental thing now, right? Are they just shocked like we are? That
You think they won too quickly?
They won too quickly at the age they are. They're not experienced.
Right. They thought it would be the same thing again.
Right. That they could just go ahead. They had the blueprint. They thought they could do the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're young enough where they'll realize that's not the case every season. You have to make adjustments. You have to develop and you have to evolve as a team, as a unit, in order to get better and in order to win. Because if you do the same thing, you're not going to go anywhere else the next season.
Yeah, I agree. I also think it's it's also on the coach as well, because he's made some
Right.
questionable calls,
For
some
sure.
questionable play calls and stuff
Right.
like I don't agree with.
Mhm.
So it goes both ways, but I think the main problem for the Bengals is Joe Burrow. He is not the quarterback he was last year, and they need that confidence Joe Burrow had last year back in order to
Right.
get back to that success.
And is that a mental thing? Like I was saying, is he shocked that they're losing right now? Is he shocked that they're not at the spot where they're a Super Bowl caliber team like last year? So to me, I think it's more of a mental thing. I think it's there, right, talent wise and skill wise, because we've seen him do it before.
Right.
So right now, he's just got to get out of that mental place, and he's just got to go on to the next game, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they do play the Saints this week. They've
Which
had a
could
lot
be
of games they should have won and could
right.
have won, and I
Mhm.
think they can win this game, but it's a
Right.
matter of what Bengals team shows up.
It could be that game that changes all the momentum into their favor, and they could go out and win. I would say the majority of the rest of the season, win the
Mhm.
AFC North, because right now the AFC North is not looking like
No.
anything. It's very competitive in the fact that they're all going to be right there at the end of the season, I think.
Yeah, I
But at
agree.
the same time, they're not going to go anyplace in the postseason.
Yeah, I can see that. The only team that I'm not sure if they will be in playoff contention is the Steelers, obviously, just because of the way they've been playing, but they might be.
I think they're going to be in playoff contention just on the fact that we're getting TJ, I believe, in 2 weeks now,
Mhm.
right? At the same time, I think our quarterback's going to be a little bit more developed. He's going to be more experienced, understanding what's going on. And I think he made some incredible plays with George Pickens. I think that's going to be a great target for him, is George Pickens.
Mhm.
Claypool needs to get better. I feel like they needed a little bit more chemistry. And Deontay Johnson, right, has made spectacular catches throughout the season so far. I think that chemistry is just going to get better. So, like I said, I think a couple more weeks, we're going to see them come back. And like I said, the AFC North is so close that if they can beat the Ravens, I think, with TJ, they can beat the Bengals with TJ. They can beat the Browns again with TJ. Winning at least one of those games against all three of those teams makes them that much closer in that division. And I think once that happens, we're right there and we can be that second, or who knows, maybe we can be that first, team in the AFC North if some teams fall and if those guys don't play to their potential.
That's fair. I think I have them. I think I'll probably have them third or fourth, probably
Right.
fourth, just for right now,
Second,
just for the way
yeah.
they've been playing.
Right, for
But
sure.
if they do get TJ back and do start playing like they did week
Mhm.
one, then they could make a push late.
It is a long season, right? And I think once we get to week 10, a lot of teams you'll see, who is in playoff contention. So
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. If you want to go to that Steelers game, obviously, you got blown out. But if you want to touch on it, your thoughts on it, you can go ahead.
yeah, 10 seconds. Our secondary is looking trash right now. Our quarterback is making some questionable calls. Mike Tomlin, I think, is making some questionable calls as well, play calling wise. Great coach. I just don't understand some of the plays he's calling right now. I think we need to get Najee the ball more. And I think George Pickens and Pickett is a great, option, and they're great with each other chemistry wise. And so we'll just see what happens here, and hopefully they can build off of this.
Yeah.
But 3
Do you
points is
play?
not enough.
What'd you say? 3 points? Yeah. So I think I got the cliffhanger, but Gio thinks he was a close second. We'll leave it up to the fans again. What y'all think? Drop it in the comments, along with anything else that's on your mind. Even questions, we'll answer those on the next pod if you have any. But
Sure.
back to the Steelers topic. Yeah, 3 points isn't enough, Gio. But
Right.
what else were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, with a young quarterback, we were close to the red zone, and when we got into the red zone, we couldn't complete it. This is scary to me, just because if you can't complete into the red zone now, when will you complete
Right.
and get touchdowns in the red zone? That's just my belief. But hopefully he can develop more and more experience in the red zone. He'll start making conversions, getting touchdowns, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think once Pickett develops more, he'll start making better reads in the red zone, which will result in more touchdowns.
For sure.
But on the topic of play calling, do you blame the offensive coordinator more than you blame Tomlin? Because I'm seeing like Steelers fans on social media saying that Matt Canada, which is the offensive coordinator, needs to
Right,
be
right.
fired.
So yes, I would blame Canada, but at the same time, I feel like Tomlin has the final say, like Belichick. Like I
Mhm.
feel like those two coaches alone have the final say in a lot of plays,
Yeah.
just because of how great of a coach they are.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I would blame him more than Canada. But at the same time, Canada does have to be better. I think Flores, right? What is he the?
Yeah,
Is he,
defensive coordinator, I think.
I don't think he's the head. I think he's something else. Maybe
Like the
he's the head.
assistant type thing.
Something.
Yeah.
The defense has to get better, especially the secondary. I think Cam Hayward, he's the only great defensive player right now, showing that he wants to play defense.
Right.
Minka Fitzpatrick, I don't know what's going on with him. That secondary is not playing to my expectations, and it just has to be better.
Yeah, because like even if you have a top defense, you can't be like way worse than you were with just one player down. Like you have to
Right,
have be
right,
as complete as you were with that one player.
exactly. And that's the thing for me. It's not like the plays the Bills players made were so great. It's the fact that they were so wide open.
Right.
That's the thing. Our defense just has to play better.
Yeah, like you get burnt on a 98-yard touchdown
Right,
from the end of the end zone. Come on now.
right. Yeah.
But
But with that though, if you have a team on the 2 yard line, you're going to be
Mhm.
aggressive and go for the safety as well, which is going to limit your secondary help. Like usually you'll have like at least a safety cover the deep ball.
For sure.
But when you're
that's
sending the blitz, that just minimizes the safeties.
yeah, that's true. But
Mhm.
with a safety like Minka Fitzpatrick, I'm willing to take that risk. I would
Right.
expect him to win that battle.
Fair. Even then, he also got the ball torn away from him in the end
Yeah.
I
zone
know.
on that one play.
Yeah,
So
that was a bad one.
He had the pick, but he just
Mhm.
wasn't strong enough to rip it away. I don't know.
That was bully ball right there, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, hey, obviously we know that this next stretch is going to be tough because they got the Bucks next, and then the Eagles, and then the Saints, I believe. So it's going to be a tough stretch, but we'll see what they come out with
I say we win 2 games.
against who, the Bucks and Saints.
Bucks and Saints, I would say. Eagles, if they lose to you guys, we're gonna lose. If they beat you guys, we win.
I I feel like y'all will win one, maybe the Saints. That's the only one I'll give you.
I think the Steelers could beat the Eagles. I don't see them beating the Bucks. I think
Mhm.
Divorce Brady is on a whole nother level.
You might be
Um,
right.
But I feel like the Eagles are getting too confident in their team
Right.
Right.
to where they'll fall to a lesser team like the Steelers.
Right. And if they go 5-0, 6-0, right, then they're gonna have even a bigger, head on their shoulders, right? And I think that's when the Steelers can come in and just play gritty football, right? And come out with that game, with a low scoring game.
Right.
That's
And
what
even last week, like they didn't play that great. They just played a mediocre Cardinals team right now. If
Right.
the Cardinals were playing like they played last year, the Cardinals would have won that game.
I
just
agree.
wait till D-Hop comes back.
I mean, I gotta see more from Kyler Murray. He can't just play one good half. You gotta play a full game.
True.
He thinks he's just running around. He's not even looking to throw anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. And like they lost to pretty much Jalen Hurts on the ground. Like that defense has to be better.
Right.
Facts. Need
But
more from JJ.
facts. I just need more from that entire offense. Obviously, Say was high on him. That was his Super Bowl pick. And plus the Chargers too. So I don't know. That's looking a little iffy as of right now.
I stand where I said.
Fair enough. But say you want to go to the Dolphins game.
Yeah, we could.
Obviously, you weren't at full strength, so you can take it with a grain of salt.
No, I don't like that excuse.
All right, that's fair.
But I think the Jets played really well.
Mhm.
I think this is the best Jets team I've seen in a long time.
Give them the respect.
Whether it was Sauce making big plays, Zach Wilson getting it done offensively,
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson.
Brees Hall, their running backs.
Yeah, I was blanking on his name for a hot minute.
Michael Carter. I mean, both their running backs did great.
The run game was killing Miami, but at the same time, the defense played so much because we had that rookie third string playing.
Right.
There was a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of like minimum offense going on
Mhm.
to where the defense was playing so much. And I can't really blame them for giving up that many points.
Right.
You can only play so much without getting entirely gassed.
Right.
And besides that, the Jets played really well. I'm just excited to see what Skyler's got for us this week, since the offense might be planting around him.
Yeah, I was gonna say you still think you guys can win this week even with him at quarterback?
They made the decision not to play Teddy.
Yeah, but I feel like that's because he's still showing some symptoms though.
No, he cleared concussion protocols during that game.
Oh yeah, but he was limited today with head symptoms, they said though.
Yeah. Either way, I don't see the Vikings as that big of a threat.
Mhm.
They have a when I say mediocre, I really do mean the definition of mediocre quarterback.
That's fair. Yeah, I agree.
And they have one star-studded wide receiver.
Right.
Thielen's on the decline, so
I agree.
and even then, I think Xavier Howard will be back healthy for the first time this season. So I'm not worried about Jay Jetta. But I think Skyler being more confident, having the offense be surrounded around him, knowing what he wants to do. I think Miami's in a lot better of a situation with him playing. Because he didn't play bad either when he was playing.
No, he didn't play bad.
It's just he had to get that first game jitters out of him.
Right. Yeah. What are you worried about the run game though, given that you guys just let the Jets run all over you, or you feel like the defense will come out and prove a point?
I'm not worried about our run defense. Out of the 5 games we played so far, that's the first game I've seen the run be a problem.
Yeah.
Other than that, Miami usually shut that down. So I think with our offense looking to have longer drives, allow our defense to have more rest, I think we could be back at full strength, along with getting Tyreek back and healthy again. I think that would be another big thing. So I'm not worried about it so much. If we were playing like a really good team, I would be. But
Yeah, I mean, I think the receivers can burn the Viking secondary because they did just get burnt by Darnell Mooney, and that's not even close to Tyreek Hill or Waddle.
no. Darnell Mooney's such a good route runner though.
He is. He's underrated. I'll give him that, but he's not on the level of Waddle or Hill.
No. You give him a good quarterback, he might be.
He might be, yeah. But any thoughts, Gio?
Yeah. So before I say anything, we have gems on this podcast all the time, especially last podcast. You know, I had that gem of the Jets, right? So all the followers might as well go ahead and subscribe right now because you're gonna hear a lot more gems in this podcast. But you got to give credit, you got to give respect to my New Jersey Jets. All right. So they're going to have at least another 10 wins, I predict, this season. 10 wins. Yes, I said it.
They're not winning 13 games, bro.
And I know I said the New Jersey Jets just because they play New Jersey, but the New York Jets are going to win at least 10 more games this season. And here's why. Looking at the teams they play the Packers, who are not looking like themselves this season. Yes, they had a couple good wins so far, right? You know, it seems like they're picking up momentum, but I don't see the Packers being anything much for the Jets, especially the way they've been playing, especially against those Dolphins. Then you got the Broncos. I had high hopes for the Broncos. They're not doing anything. The Pats, not doing anything. The Bills, obviously, one can hope they're not going to win that game. I don't see them winning that game. The Pats, again, I see them winning that game. They play the Bears. They play the Vikings. Depending on which Kirk Cousins you get, the Jets can win that game. You play the Bills again. Obviously, I don't think, thinking conservative, they're not going to win that game. The Lions, they can beat the Lions. They can beat the Jags. They can beat the Seahawks, depending on if Geno Smith is still playing at the rate he's playing. Right? So if he's playing at the rate he's playing, I say the Seahawks win that game. If not, the Jets win that game. Then they play the Dolphins. Again, right? Depending on how the Dolphins are, if they're banged up, I see the Jets winning that game. I see them being the second seed like they are right now in the AFC East, right? Right now they're sitting at 3-2 behind Buffalo, which is at 4-1. And the New York Jets will make it into the playoffs as a wild card. Got to give respect to the New York Jets right now before it's too late.
Nah, they're not winning 13 games. I'm sorry. I'll give them 8, but they're not winning 13, bro. I could see them winning around 6 to 8, but I'm not saying they're winning 10 more.
You have to give respect when respect is due.
I'm not saying they're a bad team. They're a good team. 8 wins is an improvement for them, and that would be a shocker to me. And they are improving and eventually will make the playoffs in a few years, but I don't see it coming this year.
Last week, you said the New York Jets should get zero respect.
Yeah, because the teams they played and beat, weren't that good, but they just beat a pretty good team.
Got to give the New York Jets respect now.
I
They're
do
here to play. Like
no, they definitely earn my respect, but I just don't see them winning 10 more games. That's just me though.
Like Nick said last week, and I said, Z Money is here to stay. That kid is special, right? Sauce Gardner has all the sauce in the world, right? That kid's good. They got great talent there. Like I said, they had a good draft, great pickups. That team needs respect. That's all I got to say.
Say it.
Okay. I respect the Jets, especially after they played us last week.
Right.
I respect your opinion,
Thank you.
but you're tripping.
Yeah, 100%.
But all the points I made, they have a great schedule where they can possibly win 10 games.
The Dolphins will be healthy when they play them next. That's a loss.
Okay, that's still 9 games.
They lose twice to the Bills. That's 7.
I didn't say they were going to win those games.
Okay, but I feel like if Jared Goff shows up, like it depends on what Jared Goff shows up. They could lose to the Lions.
Okay.
They could lose to the Seahawks, like you said. Who else do you say they're going to beat?
Chicago.
They could lose to them depending on what Bears team shows up. And I feel like they're going to lose this week against the Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to tear them apart.
If they beat the Packers, I give them a chance at winning 10 games.
That's fair.
Personally,
If not-
I don't see.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
If not, their cap is a 10-win season in my book.
I still cap them at 8 max.
I believe they could go. Sorry,
It's okay.
like 9-8.
Yeah.
But it's what you said about them being second in the division.
Which they are right now.
Yeah, technically, but we're
Okay.
tied with the record.
But okay.
They won't be when the Dolphins get healthy. It's that simple.
Miami's currently 2-1 in the division, while the Jets are just 1-0. So
Right.
you can give them that for now.
Okay.
But with that, my boy Tua just got cleared to start throwing the ball at practice today.
Thank goodness.
So hopefully in 2 weeks,
Mhm.
he'll be back to playing.
Mhm.
I'm not saying playing in the next game, like after this Sunday.
Right.
I'd rather sit him out one more week,
Mhm.
make sure he's really high.
Right.
But in 3 weeks' time, we can have a fully healthy Tua again.
Mhm.
And that offense is drastically different with Tua.
Oh, for sure. For sure. They're very explosive with him there. My point is, just like you guys don't trust the Jets, I don't quite trust the Dolphins. That's from history's past. Yes, each season so far, they've progressively gotten better. But just like the Bengals last year, I think they're just so young, right? I agree with you. They can be the second seed in the AFC East, right? I don't see them taking over Buffalo. But at the same time, I see the Jets. Their schedule, I think, is a lot easier.
Okay. But real quick.
Yeah.
You were talking about the age of the Dolphins.
That's right.
Are the Jets not a younger team?
No,
Like,
they
they're
are.
young
But I'm
starters?
just saying, I think their schedule is easier than the Dolphins.
Yeah, but the Dolphins are a better team, so they can beat superior opponents.
Oh, for sure. But if we look at the Dolphins' schedule, real quick.
But for example,
Yeah.
you say Miami. So say Miami has the Jets schedule.
Right.
Is it even a question that Miami wins 10 more games, given that they're healthy? I don't believe it is.
I agree with you.
I mean, the Dolphins can win, I would say, 6 straight weeks. Honestly, they got an easy schedule right now. They got Vikings, that could be a win. Steelers, I think they win that. Lions, I think that's a win. Bears, I think that's a win too. And then Browns think it's a win, and Texans, that's a win.
That could be the week where TJ gets back.
I still see the Dolphins winning even with TJ back, in my
Not worried
opinion.
about TJ.
Don't worry about TJ.
I still think as long as Kenny Pickett is still developing, I don't see them winning many games.
It depends if you get Tua, Teddy, or Skylar playing.
Right.
I feel like you should sit out Tua that game, personally.
I also think so, but I don't think Miami's going to.
I don't think so either.
I don't believe so. I think that's a bad move for you guys as a franchise because he's getting sacked that game either by Cam Hayward, right? Or TJ Watt. High voltage, I call him. I think he's going to, come in, make a sack against you guys, and it's going to be a rough sack. Tua's going to go down again, possibly hit his head, which is, big, issue for him, especially coming, what just happened with him. That's going to be rough. Should sit him out.
With that, though, I think even with Teddy at quarterback, we could beat Joe.
You think you can beat high voltage with Teddy Bridgewater?
Correct.
Really?
Only because I trust my defense against your rookie quarterback more than I trust.
I agree with that.
That's why I'm giving them the win too, because I got to see more from Pickett before I can give the Steelers that win.
I agree with that. There are great flashes of brilliance, though, with him and George Pickens. I think he's a brilliant receiver. Claypool, like I said, needs to get better with him. Deontay Johnson's already there. If he can connect with Pickens and Johnson, I think we win that game.
I don't know. I got the Dolphins winning it personally.
But the thing is, I don't see it consistent enough yet.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Pickett still has a lot to learn about the NFL and how it operates, playing such a high level that I don't see him kicking into his real NFL form until next year at the soonest possible. I think it's going to take two years for him to get into full form.
I can see that. It's just hopefully he can, connect, earlier. But realistically, I see what you're saying. Unrealistically, though, him and George Pickens, I would say get 6 touchdowns in the next. I would say 6 touchdowns in 6 weeks. They're going to get a touchdown each week.
I know you don't want to hear this, Gio, but I feel like the Steelers are going to have a few rebuilding years ahead of them. Not on the defense, but just waiting, not rebuilding, but development years ahead of them. I think they're going to have to wait for Kenny to develop before they win, say, 10 games again and get into playoff contention. I say they miss playoffs this year and then next year. And then the third year, I think they can get back in the playoffs.
I would agree with that just because I want to see more from. I just had his name. The wide receiver.
Oh, Pickens?
Georgia.
Pickens?
Pickens. See, I was going to say Pickett. They're too close.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to see Pickens develop more because I think he could genuinely be their wide receiver 1.
Mm-hmm.
Given that Claypool's not stepping up, that Deontay Johnson's not the same as last year. So I think if they let Pickett kind of step up into that wide receiver 1 spot.
Oh, you meant Pickens?
Also let Pickens with Pickett. Y'all gotta get a new quarterback. But if those two can develop their chemistry more, I could see them being very good. Like Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger type duo.
For sure.
but they'll take time.
I agree.
I would stand by your statement if we didn't have Mike Tomlin. I think in the draft this year, we're gonna, get a lot of help O-line. I think in the offseason, we're gonna get a lot of O-line help. Really defensively, we're there. The secondary just needs to get better. And I think that just comes around, hopefully. But to make it easier for you, Kenny Pickett is the big ticket. You can just call him the big ticket from now on as our quarterback.
No, well, I get that,
Yeah.
but that still won't stop me from calling Pickens Pickett.
Well, they're both the big ticket. You can just call them the big ticket because they're both going to be great.
I'm gonna just call Pickens a
George.
bulldog.
George.
Just call him George.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call him a bulldog because that boy feisty on the field, pushing
That's good.
corners over.
I agree.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna call Pickett Ticket. Boom.
I like that.
there we go.
Wow.
But yeah, that's he keeps messing up the names.
They're too similar.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they could get better through the draft and make the playoffs next year, but personally, I got them missing it the next 2 years, and then the third year they'll be back.
I say give me 1 year. We're there.
That's fair. I could see it happening. I mean, your management is one of the
Mhm.
best in the league, so it's
Sure.
definitely possible.
Say they bring in like a nice wide receiver one too, to
Yeah.
mentor like that
But-
young wide receiver core that's lackluster.
Right.
But going back to that Dolphins game, I feel like the Dolphins corners are also gonna shut down the Steelers receivers. Not like they're not gonna have the games that they did against the Bills, I feel like.
I can see that for sure. At the same time, I don't know what to really expect. Like you said, our offense is so young. They can either pop off at any given time or they can get shut down. It really depends on the game. It depends on what they're feeling that day. Because I think George Pickens, the Bulldog, can go at any single defender at any given time. It just depends on how he's feeling that day. So
That's fair. But y'all want to go to the biggest surprises that you guys had this week?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm with it.
All right. You want to go first, Gio?
I can, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go third.
All right, that's fair. I'll go first. My biggest surprise, it pains me to say this, but it's the New York Giants beating the Green Bay Packers, getting them to 4-1. I thought going into that game with the Giants having literally no receivers, all their receivers basically hurt, I thought that the Packers were just going to stack the box and shut down Saquon, but that didn't happen. And Daniel Jones found other targets to go to, which led to them winning 27-22. You can also say that the Packers didn't play up to their potential like they haven't all year, but I think I got to give credit to the Giants because they have surprised so many people this year. I did not expect them to be 4-1. They honestly could potentially make the playoffs this season, and that would be crazy to see given how long it's been since that happened.
Now, I'm gonna be a little weird here, and I'm gonna be shocked by a game, not because a certain team won, but because of how competitive a team kept it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go with the Browns-Chargers game.
Oh yeah.
The Chargers are a team I'm very high on. They have a very young and studded defense as well as offense.
Mhm.
And for the Browns to keep up and keep the game within 3 at the end, I think that was eye-opening to me. It shows how much their run game really does affect how they play, no matter who the quarterback is.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me fearful for if old Deshaun Watson comes back.
Yeah, honestly, because they could be scary once Deshaun gets back. Because Deshaun's actually gonna hit Cooper on time, like Brissett doesn't at times.
And then even we saw last year with Baker at quarterback compared to what Baker's doing now, they didn't have a good quarterback yet. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt kept them competitive.
Yeah.
And right now is another example. So Deshaun Watson's 3/4 of as good as he was. they're going to look very good.
I agree. I'm also like the Chargers they've won games, but they disappointed me a little bit. Their defense is not what I expect them to be. They're pretty much like one of the worst in the leagues, and I expect them to be one of the best in the leagues. And the offense, yeah, they score points, but at times they just look dormant.
I agree with you on that. That so far they have not looked their best. But I'm a big believer in the bye week.
Uh-huh.
So I think once the Chargers hit their bye week, they're going to spin it around. And I think that's when they're going to start looking scary. Especially with how they're playing now, teams are going to look down upon them compared to what they will be after the bye.
That's fair. This is off topic, but you think that the Raiders bye this week is going to help them or no?
I do, but not to the extent of being better.
That's fair. They've just been very disappointing for me.
And it's not even like they're playing bad. They're like terrible.
They just blow leads.
They're just losing.
They blow leads. They had a 17-point lead like 3 times this year and blew them all.
That's on the defense as well as the offense. But at the same time, I don't know what else they really can do. Because watching those leads get blown, there's really no maybe better play calling, but you can't predict what the other team's going to do.
Yeah.
But so I don't like Devontae Adams. He's still playing phenomenally. It just so happens he's one of their few threats.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh Jacobs, teams are actually playing really well against the run on him too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know how they can turn it around. Except the bye week could help them hold on to those leads.
Yeah, I agree. That's fair. I feel like that last play of the Chiefs game was just so awfully executed. Like, how do you run into each other as receivers? Like, you got to know what route you're running and when to make your break.
Wasn't even Devontae Adams' fault on that one.
No, it was Renfro, 100%. You got to know when to make your break. Because if he let Devontae go by him, that's a touchdown.
Well, I didn't watch the whole play on that. Did Devontae get jammed at the line or Renfro get jammed at the line delaying the routes?
I mean, they both got jammed, yeah.
So that could be a factor of why they ran into each other, but either way, it just can't happen.
Like, if I'm Renfro, though, like, then just change your route. If you see Adams not done with his route, just change yours.
Fair.
But what do you got to say, Gio?
I know I hyped them up in the last 2 podcasts, but the most surprising game to me was the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins. I didn't expect to see the New York Jets score 40 points. I don't remember the last time the New York Jets scored 40 points.
Yeah, I have no clue.
It was a long time coming. Like I said, that team's, starting to develop, showing what they're made of. But Miami, right? I expect them to win. Even though they were banged up, they're just a way better team, in my opinion, on paper. But the New York Jets scored 40 points, and that's the most surprising thing to me this week. And hopefully they can build off of that.
Yeah, that's fair. It is definitely surprising to see them. I think they were the highest scoring team in the league, which is very surprising.
Very surprising.
But transferring over to the NBA as the NBA starts about a week from now. Very excited for that. What are your guys' thoughts on, the Draymond video did drop. He did punch Jordan Poole flat in the face and basically knocked him out. What are your guys' thoughts on that whole incident and the discipline he got, which he just got a fine, no suspension?
For me, that's inexcusable. I read something that Jordan Poole was making comments to him repeatedly at different practices.
And it was about money too. That's it though.
And that is a triple single too. So
right, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's stuff opponents will say too.
Exactly.
To lose your cool on a teammate.
Yeah.
To do that.
I think it's because Jordan Poole put his hands on him too, but still.
Yeah, but if you so in the video, Draymond just walks up onto him.
And into his face, yeah.
But the thing is, no one stopped him.
No, exactly.
no one expected him to just full on swing at bro's head.
Right.
Like usually you can tell when there's about to be something that goes down, so people will get in the middle of it. But
Mm-hmm.
that's out of the pocket by Draymond. Just full on swing like that to a teammate.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be very hard for Jordan Poole to respect Draymond Green because of that now. I don't know if their relationship is ever going to mend again. And I mean, we'll see who the Warriors pick, him or Poole, or if they just keep both. But if they keep both, I don't know how that relationship is going to mend anymore. And I agree with you. I think it's totally out of pocket. And honestly, if I was the Warriors, I probably would have suspended him at least a game.
Yeah, because to not give him anything but a fine.
Yeah, like that's not going to change
And
anything.
was that even from the Warriors or was that from the NBA?
I don't know who it was from, but either way, I feel like he should at least be suspended a game.
He's giving away with too much where he thinks that's acceptable, I think.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Gio?
So I don't know if my takes. It's just different than your guys's.
Mm-hmm.
I think Draymond Green is a intelligent individual, right? He understands the consequences to his actions. He gets heated a lot, right? We've
Right.
seen that in the past.
Yeah.
I fully believe that he gets caught up in the moment, but at the same time, he understands what's going to happen to him if he does, commit that action or whatever it might be in game or out of game. We also only got, I believe, what was a 90-second clip. We don't understand what was going on before that with Jordan Poole and Draymond Green. Obviously, to go ahead and punch him like that, do a Superman punch was, I think, it was a little much. It was uncalled for, depending on what happened in the background. I just don't think, you should go over to him and punch him like that. At the same time, we live in a day and age where everything's caught on tape. I'm sure teams in the past, the Michael Jordan teams, the Kobe Bryant teams, the bad boy Pistons, I'm sure those practices were not clean. I'm sure they got physical, right? They just didn't get caught on tape like that, at least nowadays where everything's caught on tape. And Draymond Green has been seen as the bad guy throughout his entire career. So it's nothing new for him to see this adversity, right? But at the same time, I don't believe he should have punched him like that. At the same time, I think people are reading too much into this. It's a practice. They're teammates. They're on a team. I think things should be let go, especially if we don't know the story behind it fully to its full extent. And I just think, they're going to go through their season. They're the Golden State Warriors. If you have Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry, you're an automatic bid possibly to the finals, right? I guarantee you they're going to go to the Western Conference Finals, at least to the finals again this year, depending on how other teams play in the West. And even with all this happening.
Yeah, I can definitely see that happen.
I agree with what you said, especially with the bad boy Pistons and that.
Yeah.
But I also think it's a different time where NBA players don't necessarily hate each other anymore.
Right.
I feel like it's more friendships around the league. And that's why the physical play has diminished a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you are right in the fact that they were definitely getting scrappy in practice.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think the NBA is more based around kids now too, to where they can't really allow the scrappiness.
Yeah, that's true.
I personally don't think they allowed it back then. I just think it wasn't caught on tape. Whereas, like I said before, everything's caught on tape now. So the kids will see this tape. Everyone has a camera or whatever the case may be to look at this video.
I mean, they did allow it in game though, where they hard fouled everybody.
Right.
But I also see where you're coming from too. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
And for me, it's just Draymond Green is a player from the 90s, pretty much, player from the 80s, right? Figuratively speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's instilled into himself that he is that guy that is physical. that plays that 90s ball still to this day, that he doesn't care what day and age we are. He's going to play the basketball he knows and the basketball he loves. And nothing's going to change about that. I hate to see that it's Draymond because of all the negative things that happened in his career, right? Being seen as the bad guy. I don't really think he is that guy, right? As seen, I think just the way he talks, the way he acts, I fully believe that's not his characteristics.
I mean, he has done it to himself though by, stepping on Zaza and all that stuff in
Picking
game.
Steven Adams.
Right. Yeah. I meant Steven Adams, not Zaza, but you know what I mean.
I agree with that, but at the same time, I think his career, at least in the later years, has headed into a different direction, especially when he's had his podcast. Everyone watching him, everyone, understanding, listening to Draymond, what he has to say about the game. His career was headed into a different direction. The outlook on Draymond Green as a person was headed into a different direction. Then this happened. I think that, takes away everything he's produced in the last couple of years. And it just goes back to the narrative that Draymond Green is the bad guy. And I don't think that's, the case.
That's fair.
But yeah, I have one question
Okay.
to ask about the Warriors.
Okay.
So
Sorry for that long wait. Sayer really wanted to keep us on a cliffhanger on that one. But on that note, what was that question, Sayer?
correct. I really wanted to leave y'all on the cliffhanger until next week. But then I thought, why not ask now and finish the pod strong? Right, Jake?
Right.
I'm also capping. Right, Gio?
Yeah.
All right. My question was, do you think the Warriors keep Draymond, keep Poole, or keep both of them? Do they look for trades?
I don't think they're going to look for trades, but I think when it comes to the time where they have to pick one to pay, they're not going to pay both. I feel like they're going to let Poole walk and keep Draymond. What do you think, Gio?
So I would have to agree on that, but Draymond's got that player option next year, right, where he can sign on.
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously he's looking for that long-term contract after that year. I think he's not going to get that, especially with the Warriors. They're going to give it to Jordan Poole, especially since he's the new core for them, I would think. And then Draymond goes to LA. He goes to the Lakers, I think. Keeps LeBron there for at least another year or something like that, right? At least maybe a year or two. So Draymond goes to the Lakers. Jordan Poole is part of the core and on the Warriors, and that's where I see the future headed.
I think they keep Draymond though, just because of his defensive presence, but that's just me though.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So my thoughts is, ideally, the Warriors keep both right now.
Right now, yeah.
Because right now they're still in win now plus future.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think on a basketball court, when you're getting paid to play basketball, I think they're both going to continue to play winning basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Just so both of them can get their money.
Mm-hmm.
But when the time comes, Jordan Poole will remain a Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And Draymond Green will not. Whether that comes at the end of contract or the right trade for Draymond. But I personally see it as a contract thing since Draymond's value is so underappreciated.
I just feel like they keep Draymond because of the relationship he has with Steph and Clay. Plus his defensive presence. If they let him go, that defense takes a huge hit, I feel like. I think they could replace Poole, to be honest with you. It's easier to replace Poole than it is to replace Draymond, in my opinion.
And I agree with that statement. It's just the fact that Jordan Poole is part of that young squad with Kuminga and Moody, where he's part of that young core. He's got so much potential. Draymond Green's at the end of his career, right? You don't see him, producing that much more or bringing that much more to the table. He's going to give you that defense. He's going to give you everything he's got. But I think Jordan Poole, for the long term, he's going to be there just because he's so young and he's got so much potential. It will be a sad day, though, when that big three and Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson do break up. I wish that it would never break up, and I wish that they all end their career with the Warriors. I'll get their jersey retired, with the Warriors. So that was my hope for those three guys. But looking at it right now, I don't see Draymond Green being on the Warriors for much longer.
That's fair.
Jake, you said it's easy to replace Poole or Draymond, real quick.
I think it's easier to replace Poole than it is to replace Draymond.
But do you think you're getting a equally young, if not younger, player that's doing the same production as Poole?
I mean, I feel like they could if they traded him.
What kind of trade do you see for Poole? Like, that also matches contract-wise.
I mean, his contract's not that big right now, is it?
Right.
No, right now it's really small, but you got to think about the Warriors are probably willing to pay Jordan Poole the back as well.
Yeah, which is why they got to let go of one. I don't know. I feel like they could trade him for like a shooting guard type thing. Like, I mean, not Buddy Hield because Buddy Hield's a little older and he's on the decline. I'm trying to think of like a shooting guard that could potentially be like the best fit for the Warriors. One that comes to mind is like Tyler Hero, but I don't think the Heat would do that.
You better not. They better not.
But like that's one that comes to mind. It would be fair, but I don't think the Heat are willing to part ways with Hero.
I'm taking Ty over Jordan Poole. Sorry.
For sure.
All around wise, I think Tyler Hero is better, like scoring the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. There's not many young shooting guards that could, but I was thinking through the draft, they could draft another young player and develop him like they did with Poole.
So you would keep older Draymond over the younger Jordan Poole?
I would, because the chemistry with that team I feel like it would drop without Draymond because he's like a point forward. Like he runs the offense, and I feel like it wouldn't run as smoothly if Draymond wasn't a part of that team.
I agree. I personally think he's like a glue guy. But at the same time, I don't think I would spend the right now, like the next couple, like 3 to 5 years for the next, hopefully 10, Jordan Poole running the point.
Yeah.
So are you on that same boat, or would you rather go?
Yeah, I agree with you on that point.
Fair. Gio, what you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with that statement. Just because, like I said before, Draymond's on the downside of his career. You don't really have too much left, where he's gonna, give you more than what he's already given you. Jordan Poole's got so much potential. He's part of that young squad, with Kuminga and Moody. They're gonna be a championship team later on if you keep that core together. I feel like, they'll develop into great shooters, great defenders, and Kuminga and Moody, and Jordan Poole. He's so crafty. I don't really know another shooting guard right now at his age that are doing the things that he's doing, especially just like I just feel like with his age and the way he's scoring the ball. Tyler Hero comes to mind. I think he's the only one that I would say, but at the same time,
you could also say maybe Tyrese Maxey, but
you can say Tyrese Maxey, but I would really I got those two in mind. Really is Jordan Poole and Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero, though, I feel like can fit on any team, really.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole, I think there's a specific situation where he's able to fit into it and fit into that system, and he's fitting in perfectly right now with the Warriors.
That's fair.
Fair. I think he is going to become Steph post-Steph era.
Right.
If they keep him, I can definitely see that.
Do you think that's a strong if, or do you think that's
For me personally, it is a strong if because I just don't see him keeping him over Draymond personally.
That's hard for me. Just to understand, right? Just because Draymond is in the downfall of his career, he's not going to give you that much more. Jordan Poole has so much potential. Yes, Draymond is that glue guy. He's the heart and soul of that team. He's going to be there for 1 to 2 more years. Jordan Poole is going to develop more. You're going to want to keep the younger player because he's going to get you more championships in the long run. For you to try to trade Draymond or to try to trade Jordan Poole and get picks out of it, you already developed a great player, right? To develop a player like Jordan Poole, I think is a 1 out of 100 players, I would say. And you don't really know if you're going to get that 100th player, right? Win that lottery again to get and develop a player like Jordan Poole. So that's why I think you're going to keep him. And yeah, he's just part of that young squad. He's going to be that number 1 guy. Like Steph, obviously he's not going to be as good as Steph, but he will be that number 1 guy. Moody and Kuminga can fight for the 2nd place, right? But we all know that, Kuminga's got, he's going to develop into that great defender, and Moody's got a good shot already, so we'll see what happens.
You also got to remember Wiseman's in that young squad too, so he could be number 2 as well.
Right, for sure. Can play that Kayvon Looney role.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, come on now.
I'm just playing, Wiseman's got, great potential as well. Just got to stay healthy.
The thing is, I think Wiseman's potential is being limited to the win now mode.
Right.
Yeah. And plus he can't stay healthy right now. He needs to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
If he stays healthy, he's the starting 5. He's in the starter 5, I said.
Sure. But even if he's healthy, I don't see him getting enough touches to max out his potential.
That's fair. He will eventually, but yeah, not when Steph and Clay are there and Poole.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
But what kind of contract, if they did resign Draymond, what kind of contract do you think they would give him, Saya?
Personally, I don't see them re-signing Draymond.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but if they did,
well, it would have to be the max, right?
I don't think it has to be the max. That's why I'm saying they keep him, because if he wants the max, let him walk. You're not worth the max anymore. Five years ago, okay, but this year, like these years, no, you're not worth the max. So if he wants the max, then yeah, let him walk, bro.
How old is he right now? He's like 33, right?
He's like 33. Yeah, he's not worth the max. If he
not
wants that,
a max contract at that old.
exactly. If he wants that, he can walk. But if he's asking for that, I will see why the Warriors let him walk, and I would do the same thing. But my thing was like maybe a 2-3 year contract, like 30 million, something around there with his age and his production. That's basically what he deserves, I say.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I'd give him like 10 mil a year.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, I said 2-3 years, 30 million total.
Yeah.
Apologies. But
you're good.
Yeah, like I'm not, because as much as he is a big factor on the Warriors, I don't see him as good on any other team.
No, because the Warriors run their offense around him. No one else is running their offense around Draymond like the Warriors do.
I could honestly see the Lakers doing that.
Well, we don't have enough shooters for that, if we're being honest.
Right. If I'm saying 2 years down the line, right?
Yeah, but as long as LeBron's on the team, it's running through LeBron.
Think about it.
Yeah.
You can do a dribble handoff pick
to
Stephen Curry to open up his 3-point shooting ability.
Right.
You give that to LeBron, it's not as much of a sure thing. Where I'd rather have LeBron play his own game rather than just get open for 3.
Right. And I honestly don't know if Draymond would be a great fit for the Lakers because of his drastic 3-point shooting. It is not good at all. Defensively, he would help a ton, but 3-point shooting, that's tough.
I would honestly, just for the fun of it. Would love to see a team with Patrick Beverly, Russell Westbrook, and Draymond Green together. I don't know if there will be a team, with more dogs on it. I would honestly be afraid to play those guys. It would be like the bad boy Pistons in a smaller level. Those three guys together are scary.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Draymond does take like a pay cut and does this like 30 million a year in total, they could keep both Poole and
Sure.
Draymond. But it's a matter of their relationship after this whole drama.
I think it'll be fine, to be honest.
I don't know. I have to see it. Like I have to see how they play with each other and if they like argue on the bench. And if they're arguing like in game, then I'll know like they're not fine.
You win another chip, everything goes away. That's usually what happens.
Yeah. And I think they'll still be great because they still got Steph, Clay, and Dre, even if Poole doesn't play great.
They're also not winning a chip.
So,
Miami's year.
so leading into the next point, right? Where do you see your favorite team and their record?
Say you want to go first since you just said, Miami the chip.
You want to talk about Miami and the record?
Yeah, well,
And
what's your
where do you-
record prediction for them?
Yeah.
Regular season?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's a tough one.
52-30. Nah, 55-28.
That's fair. For the Lakers, I mean, I'm pretty indecisive because I got to see what Russell Westbrook shows up first, and if AD can stay healthy, and if LeBron can also stay healthy because he missed a lot of games last year. So I'm going to say they'll win in the range of 40 to 50 games. I think we improved from last year, but not drastically. If AD and LeBron stay healthy, we win 50 plus. But if they don't, we win 40 to 45. That's my prediction.
I can see that. For the Cleveland Cavaliers with Donovan Mitchell, I see between 50 and 60 games, possibly, depending on if everyone stays healthy. I would put them in the range with the Miami Heat, right? So I think they're going to be in the same tier. So Nick said, what was it? 50.
55-28.
55 and 28. I say 56 and 27. I say we'll go one game above them for that 2 spot because I honestly think Milwaukee's going to probably lose like 20 games, if not like 22 games, something like that.
Yeah.
And what I also didn't know is the depth of the Celtics increased drastically in the offseason, and they could honestly beat out that Milwaukee team and only lose like 20 games. So
I feel like the Celtics depends on how this new coach is, though.
agreed, but if you're running the same system, you understand how to win with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown the way you did in the second half, everything else will come together.
Yeah, I can see that. I think they'll be top 2.
Mhm.
But anything else y'all want to add before we go into the segments?
Sit to it.
Miami Dolphins, you heard it here first. All right, Gio, you got a segment?
Yeah. So as we know, it's October. It's postseason in baseball. Last night, the New York Yankees beat the Cleveland Guardians. I believe it was 4-1. I'm thinking this year is going to be a great postseason for the Yankees. Knock on wood, though. I really think they have a shot of winning it all this year. LA looks pretty good right now, the Dodgers. So we'll see what happens there. But I think New York's got a really good shot of winning it.
I agree. Go Yankees.
Go Yankees.
In the video game world, there's not much going on. A new game did drop, FIFA 23, I believe. I'm not big into FIFA, but I do play it here and there. I haven't touched this one yet, though. I haven't bought it, but our friend Griffin did, and he said that the gameplay is definitely improved and it's worth a buy if you're big into soccer. So if you're into soccer, I would definitely check that game out. And he did say that it's more difficult as well, which is always great because you like to have more challenges. So if you're into soccer, like I said, go check that out.
So you would say it's a goal, right? The game's a goal.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Gio with the best pun, bro.
Yeah. For music, my boy G Herbo dropped
Yeah,
a
bro.
goal. G Herbo dropped a goal of an album. Survivor's Remorse, A side and B side. Personally, I'm a big fan of this album. I like a lot of G Herbo stuff, and this is probably one of my favorite albums so far. So if you haven't heard it, I would give it a listen. It's pretty good stuff. I like it.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't, go check out the Instagram at sportshype0824. I just post little clips from these pods, and then you can just watch the rest on YouTube like you always do. And like I said, hit that subscribe button below and leave a comment if you're inclined. Questions, comments, whatever you want.
Honestly, make sure you do what Jake said. If you like this, drop a like. Let us know what the cliffhanger was in the comments, or if you have something to add, let us know. If you want to follow the TikTok, it's at Sports Hype Pod. That's Sports Hype, one word, POD, all in one word. Sports Hype Pod, one word.
With Buddy Bayham as a profile picture. Go Cuse.
Buddy Bayham's profile picture. Yup. But most importantly, drop a Geo.
Only if you're feeling like it. Make sure you guys subscribe, right? You guys really like this channel. You guys like the videos we're putting out there. It's that easy. Just hit the subscribe button and you won't miss another one. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you. Peace.
Peace. Thanks for watching.